There's a voice that creeps in late at night or when the noise of the world dies down, a whisper that says, it's too late. Too late to start over. Too late to be who you wanted to be. Too late to make it right. And maybe that voice sounds convincing. Maybe it's echoing past failures, lost time, and all the roads you didn't take. But here's the truth, one that might be hard to hold onto at first, but I need you to hear it fully. You're not too late to change everything. We get caught up in the illusion of finality. That life is a train, and if you missed the right stop years ago, you're stuck riding a track you didn't choose. But life isn't that linear. It isn't that rigid. It bends, it loops, it opens unexpected doors. And if you're brave enough to reach for the handle, even now, even after all this time, you'll find the door isn't locked. Maybe you wasted years in the wrong job, stayed too long in the wrong relationship, silenced your voice too many times, or let fear call the shots more often than not. But those years don't define you. They're chapters, not the whole book. You are still writing the story. And stories shift all the time. Some of the best ones do. Think about it, how many of the people you admire started late? Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until she was 40. Colonel Sanders didn't franchise KFC until he was 65. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison before becoming president. These aren't just exceptions, they're proof. Proof that you can begin at any point and still create something extraordinary. It's easy to feel like we missed our moment because society loves timelines. By 25, this. By 30, that. By 40, you should have figured it all out. But the truth is, no one really has it figured out. We're all just moving through our own mess, trying, failing, learning. And the only timeline that matters is the one you create from today. Maybe the life you want feels too far away. Maybe the person you want to be feels unfamiliar. But growth often looks like discomfort at first. Change isn't about waking up transformed, it's about waking up committed. Committed to doing one small thing differently. To choosing the harder, better path even when it's not convenient. You can quit the job. You can go back to school. You can apologize, forgive, move cities, fall in love again. You can start painting, running, writing, learning a new language. You can heal the wounds you thought would stay open forever. You can rewrite your definition of success. You can find your way back to yourself. The fear that it's too late is really the fear that you'll fail again. That you'll try and it won't work. That people will judge you. That you'll prove that voice in your head right. But fear isn't fact. It's a story fear tells to keep you safe, to keep you still. And staying still might feel secure, but it's not freedom. Freedom is in motion, in the attempt, in the vulnerability of saying, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm willing to try. And once you do that, once you decide that your past isn't yet the final say, you start regaining your power. Piece by piece, choice by choice. It's not about pretending everything is easy. It's not about ignoring how much time you think you've lost. It's about realizing that this moment, right now, is your starting point. That today can be the first line of a new chapter, no matter how long the book has already been. We talk so much about passion and purpose, like they're hidden treasures we're supposed to stumble across. But purpose isn't found, it's made. And passion isn't a lightning strike, it's a spark you protect, feed, and grow over time. You can start building those things right now, with what you have. Your purpose might not be loud. It might not come with accolades or applause. But if it brings you peace, if it brings you closer to your truth, it matters. You're not too old. You're not too broken. You're not too far gone. There's no expiration date on becoming who you want to be. The only thing standing between you and that life is the courage to believe it's still possible, and then taking the first step, however small. Change is made in the everyday choices, in the habits you keep, in how you talk to yourself, in how you show up, even when it's hard. It's in deciding, over and over again, that you're worth the effort. That your life is worth building with intention, not just surviving by default. It's okay to grieve what you've lost. The years, the chances, the versions of yourself that didn't make it. Let that grief move through you, but don't let it make a home. You have more life left. More love, more laughter, more growth, more joy. There are people you haven't met yet who will matter. There are dreams that haven't formed yet that will shape you. There are days ahead you'll look back on and say, that's when everything changed. The idea that we're supposed to have one path is a myth. Life is full of reroutes, detours, Pauses. It's not a straight line. It's a wild, messy, beautiful curve. And the only thing that really matters is that you keep choosing to walk it with honesty and heart. Don't wait for some perfect time. It won't come. Life won't pause to let you catch up. But that doesn't mean you're behind. It just means now is the moment to begin. Not next week. Not when you feel more ready. Now. Readiness is a myth too. Most people start scared. Most people begin in doubt. But the starting is what makes the change real. You don't have to do it all at once. Just enough to prove to yourself that you're still capable of transformation. One better choice today. One new boundary. One phone call. 1 hour dedicated to that project you abandoned. That's how it starts. That's how it builds. And if you're thinking, but I've tried before, good. Trying means you haven't given up. Trying means there's a fighter in you still willing to believe in better. That effort counts. That resilience means something. You just need to aim it in a new direction. Forgive yourself for the time you think you wasted. The truth is, you learned something. You gained strength, perspective, maybe even empathy. None of that is wasted. It's part of your foundation now. And you get to build on it. The people who change their lives don't have more time. They don't have more luck. They have more persistence, more willingness to keep going even when it's awkward and slow and no one's cheering them on. That could be you. That is you, if you choose it. There will be moments when doubt returns. When the old voice creeps back in. Let it speak, but don't let it decide. You're allowed to keep going even with fear riding shotgun. You're allowed to be imperfect on your way to incredible. You're allowed to not know exactly where you're headed, just that where you've been isn't where you're meant to stay. You've still got time. Time to become. Time to repair. Time to build. Time to start again. And you'll be amazed at what you can do when you finally stop asking for permission to change your life and just begin. So no, you're not too late. You never were. You're right on time, for your own breakthrough, your own becoming, your own beginning. You're not too late to change everything. That sentence might seem bold or even naive at first, especially in a world that constantly tells us we should have started sooner, that time is a thief, and we're always behind. But let me offer you something different, an invitation, not to rewind time, but to reclaim it. Because no matter where you are, how much time you think you've lost, or how many detours you've taken, there's still room for a revolution, inside you and around you. We live in a world addicted to urgency. Everything is supposed to happen now or never. Start your dream career in your 20s. Be emotionally intelligent by your 30s. Find your purpose before 40. Build a legacy before you're old. The pressure mounts, the clocks tick louder, and somewhere along the way, we convince ourselves that if we didn't begin at the right time, we'd miss the boat entirely. But the truth is, most people don't discover what they're capable of until they're pushed to the edge of a job, a relationship, a belief system, or their own identity. And even then, the beauty isn't in how early they got there, but in the fact that they arrived at all. Change doesn't come with a timestamp. Transformation doesn't check your calendar. You don't need a fresh year, a Monday, or some symbolic event to begin. The moment you decide to shift, to pivot, to say, enough, or maybe there's more, that's the moment everything starts to change. And it doesn't need to be loud or cinematic. Most of the time, it's a quiet knowing. A whisper to yourself that this version of life, this story you've been told or have been telling yourself, isn't the end. Think about how many stories would have never existed if people gave up when it seemed too late. Vera Wang didn't enter the fashion world until she was 40. Colonel Sanders founded KFC in his 60s. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison before becoming president of South Africa and changing the nation. These aren't just anecdotes for motivation, they're evidence that timing is fluid and that impact is not always immediate. Often, the longer the wait, the deeper the roots. But this idea of being too late isn't just about careers or success. It's also about healing, growth, and relationships. Maybe you think it's too late to forgive someone or to be forgiven. Maybe you think you've messed up too many times to be trusted again. Maybe you've spent years running from yourself, burying parts of who you were because you didn't know how to hold them in the light. But here's the thing, the moment you choose honesty, with yourself and others, you begin a process that no clock can limit. Time can't erase pain, but time filled with courage can transform it. Every apology spoken, every boundary set, every truth told, these are revolutions in their own right. You are allowed to evolve. You're allowed to outgrow your past. You're allowed to look back at the version of yourself from 5 years ago, or even yesterday, and decide that you want something else. Something better. It's not hypocrisy to change your mind. It's growth. Stagnation is not loyalty. You don't owe anyone your misery in exchange for consistency. What you owe is a life that feels real, intentional, and yours. We often forget that the systems we live in, social, political, economic, weren't handed down from the heavens. They were built by people. And anything built by people can be changed by people. We are never too late to reimagine how society functions, how we care for each other, how we distribute resources, how we define success and worth. Think of all the movements in history that began with a few voices saying, "What if? What if things could be different? What if there's another way?" Every generation inherits problems it didn't create. But every generation also inherits the power to respond. Climate change, injustice, inequality. These aren't unsolvable fates. They're challenges asking for action, for creativity, for unity. And you, right now, wherever you are in your life, are part of that response. You don't need to be a politician or a scientist to make a difference. You just need to care enough to begin. Your voice matters. Your actions matter. Small things ripple. They always have. It's easy to feel insignificant in the face of global problems. To feel like your one act of kindness, your one conversation, your one decision to walk away from a harmful norm won't change anything. But imagine if everyone thought that way. The truth is, change isn't about massive overnight shifts, it's about accumulation. 100 small acts, 1,000 choices made in private that eventually shape the public world. Cultural tides don't turn with one wave, they shift with a persistent current. You can be that current, and if you feel tired, if the world feels heavy, that doesn't mean you're too late. It means you're awake. It means you're human. Don't let exhaustion be mistaken for finality. Rest, and then return. Pause, and then begin again. Because changing everything doesn't mean doing everything at once. It means being willing to start where you are, with what you have, and to keep showing up even when the results aren't immediate. Consistency beats intensity. Progress over perfection. Maybe you've lived your life so far trying to fit into a mold someone else made for you. Maybe you've played small so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. Maybe you've dimmed your light so you wouldn't draw attention, or chased achievements hoping they'd fill a void. It's not too late to rewrite that script. To decide that from now on, your life will be authored by you. It's not selfish to honor your truth, it's necessary. The world needs more people who are alive from the inside out. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for every condition to be perfect. Don't wait to be fearless. Just choose to act even with fear in your pocket. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something matters more. That you matter more than your hesitation. That change is worth the discomfort. Every breakthrough begins with discomfort. Every evolution starts with uncertainty. And when it feels like too much, remember you're not doing this alone. You're not the only one learning how to start over, to heal, to speak, to resist, to rise. Look around. There are people all over the world, quietly and loudly, choosing growth. Choosing better. Choosing to believe in the possibility of something new. Find them. Walk with them. Let them remind you that this journey is not solitary.